It's a really ambitious project, this, because the original story by Hans Christian Andersen is set both underwater and on land. So for us the challenge has been, how do we make the underwater world believable, and how do we distinguish it from upstairs, if you like. And we thought about using real water, which would have been really exciting, but actually, why didn't we use real water? But I think really hard to manage and really hard to control, and perhaps means that it's very difficult to access the story, because if you're in a big tank of water, it's difficult to hear or really relate to the characters. So how could we create a way that was really immediate and actually celebrated that this was a play and not a film?
So it's not all kind of old rickety oak ships and kind of ropes. It's got a more modern, kind of more industrial feel in some places, I think.
And for us, the sea was somewhere where the Little Mermaid dreams of escaping from. So the idea in our world is that the sea is in itself a little bit like a cage, which is beautiful and intense, but one that she wants to liberate herself from. So hence we've got this suggestion of a sea without giving too much away, which is a kind of big steel structure, which is beautiful and frightening and liberating, we hope, all at the same time.
And I think we're trying to use the theatre in as many ways as possible, so it's using every bit of technology and idea that this theatre has, particularly in terms of its old flying technique, but trying to update that into a modern sense. And I think also we've taken, as a kind of viewpoint, we've taken on the idea of looking through a porthole. So we're looking at an action, framing it either from within or looking through something, into effectively what's like an air bubble, a big lock that's a big sphere that holds the action within it.
But one thing we're kind of looking at is really a very old theatrical technique, which is the idea of people floating in space, and that's partly to do with how we, if you like, their relationship to the great blue box that is the sea. And are there ways that we can costume and move people around the space so it seems like they're floating and swimming within the blue box that is our world? Watch this space to see whether we're successful on that. But that's the dream.
I think the show is using lots of real colour as well as lots of unnatural colour. So there's a nice contrast between some very Eve's Klein, what I call Eve's Klein blue, which is a very strong cobalt blue, which represents the sea, rather than using kind of more traditional blacks like you see in theatre as our kind of general aesthetic. And then that allows us to punch out kind of more neon kind of colours that you see down below, where everything suddenly looks incredible, like tropical fish, look incredibly beautiful.